Well, I was first brought in here because my father just expected, like any former Italian would, that the son was gonna be in the same business. So they brought me in and taught me how to do fiber seeding, but that was my first job, and now at the age of 89, it's my last job. Uh-oh. Would you grab that for me, please? I'll take it.
Call
Okay.
from East Weymouth, MA.
Cheers, City Wayside. Well, I'll start with my name is Lenny Curcio. I'm the second generation of the founder, Ralph Curcio. Next door in the factory is David Lettinen, and he is the second generation of my father's partner.
Ralph Curcio worked at Nicholson Stone, which was a big company here, and he was the superintendent of the rush seeding department.
Interesting enough, someplace there is a picture of the rush seeders in Nicholson Stone. So now you picture this kind of a dark room, lots of posts, and inside every one of those squares of a post is a picture of a person doing seeding, usually a lady. And I don't know how else to say it. It looks like something out of the industrial age. And I'm going to say there has to be 20 or 30 people in that room doing that.
He, in 1938, decided to start his own company, the Ralph Curcio Company, and I think he was a little bit brave. The Depression wasn't quite over, but he certainly felt that he could go out on his own, and he did.
Well, it was a gutsy move, that's for sure. But he had had all he could take before, and that was just a determining factor. He found somebody to come with him, and they broke.
So my understanding is that Lenny's dad and David's dad, Bill, would did whatever they could to make the business go, and they would go to different shops at night after the regular workforce went through and use some of their machinery to keep things going until they could afford or find their own machinery, and that's how their business, kind of got started.
And his product line was always pretty limited. I mean, he just made fiber-seated chairs, what we call, a real colonial tall post type chair with the slats across the back and so on. At one time, there was an option. You could either get fiber or rush.
Yeah, my grandfather Ralph died when he was 48 in 1948. So none of my siblings and we have never met him. I do know, I wish I could have met your father, but that weren't in the cards for
I
us.
wish I could have met him too. He died when I was 20.
Yeah.
Just at the time when I would have gotten used to being him as a friend, I lost him. So I had to pick up the legacy that he had from the grave.
He probably, everything that he did to the best of his ability. And I think that's where we get our drive from, too.
I've been operating this at the head of the company since 1948. My father died at that point, and I got appointed to take over the charge that he was running.
Most of the time I spent here as a child was in this building. This is the store building, the Wayside. I didn't spend a lot of time in the factory building, but on the other side, I like to go play by the swamp. So I remember my grandmother being here, and I would come and visit with her for a little while.
Oh, well, he was working in the factory when we'd make something that didn't quite pass muster. He wanted a place to dispose of it, so we decided to have our own showroom. He started by putting the chairs that were to be cast off or to be sold irregularly. He put them in a snowbank out in front of this building, put a sign on them, and have people stop and look at them. From that, it grew to we started building into the store everything, living room, dining room, bedroom.
First off, the question, why would a factory have its own showroom? There's money to be saved by not having to transport the goods, to a retailer. You can probably charge a little bit less for your products. Not probably, you can, to the public, because you don't have all those associated costs with packaging it and shipping it, and the stores taking their markup on it and so on. And it's probably just good home-style advertising to have your little factory store right in your factory.
Well, it meant significantly that it was a place at the side of the road, out of the high rental district, out of the cost factor, a place where you could park your vehicle. And it grew from a place that we met in Connecticut, where there was a Wayside there, Bonelli's Wayside. They're not a chain, they're individually owned, and they all call themselves that name because they're at the side of the road.
I remember when we used to be able to get other local product in here for sale, watching my dad carry bureaus and bedroom sets and dining room hutches and whatnot. He'd physically carry them up the stairs to the showroom, and we'd have some upholstered goods. At one time we had anything that we could get in, he could put in his truck and bring from those factories here to sell. So we were sort of one of the original factory direct stores, because he went out to the other factories, he bought what we couldn't make here.
I would buy cabinet work, I would buy tables, I would buy living room sets made in Gardner by places like Betty LaRoche, Custom and Modern, Cott Manufacturing, Easton of Athol, and one by one they all got hit by the bug of get it cheaper somewhere else.
When I was young and I would come here and see my dad, I mentioned earlier about him carrying furniture up the stairs. Man, he was a superhero as far as I'm concerned. He knew how to leverage the pieces so that he could carry them up the stairs by himself and that sort of thing. So I learned a lot from him without knowing I was learning anything, just by admiring what he was doing.
Oh, the best year I can remember was in the 60s, before things started going downhill. Because everything was going fine. Gardner was booming. Everybody had a job, whether they liked it or not. They could bitch and moan all they wanted. Now, there's no place to go and crab about it.
We had tables from Athol Table. The most recent company we were dealing with was Lemure in Templeton. We were getting tables from him. And then when my dad lost his vision and can't drive anymore, and these factories dried up, and there's no place locally to get these goods, so we're down to just selling our own product here. So the building isn't full like it used to be, which just as well, because we need to do so many repairs. So
The process, and I'm not being a wise guy when I say this. I'm going to say that the process in 1960s, 1940s, and 1950s was probably identical to what he has there right now. There isn't a piece of equipment in the place that's younger than Lenny. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's why I say I'm not being a wise guy. I mean, it's a small 1 or 2 man operation, and so he's almost build them one chair at a time. Which, if you think about it, that's what the world has been trying to do ever since CNC equipment came. Yes, his equipment's old. It's well maintained. It works good. I'm going to say there probably isn't any difference from the 1930s.
I don't think this craft has to die. I think people out there are still looking for it. And you can see that when you get calls, when Lenny gets calls from all over the country looking for this type. And they say, wow, I've looked all over and I've never been able to find it. I'm so glad I finally found you. I almost gave up. And they come across the website and they call. And then they're surprised to hear that it's made right here on site, right next door. Everything is done right here. Even the callers or the people that buy the chairs, you can tell that they kind of take pride in that as well. Here I am buying a quality product made by 2 individuals that have had a long-standing part in the community and have made a business out of this, a family business. And I'm buying something in. from them. And I think that makes them feel part of it. You know, it's a way to feel connected to the story, because it is. It's that story that you can feel connected to. And you know, I delivered a chair to someone down Rhode Island when I went to another job site, and I stopped and I delivered these chairs to her, and she was so thankful. And she took me to the house and she showed me right where they were going, and they were going right there at her kitchen, her kitchen table, and they fit. You could just tell how pleased she was to have this quality product that was going to be now part of her story. So I think that's why the business has survived, and because of that quality. And as much as people may not want to, maybe don't think that they want it, they really do. They really do.
But he's been coming here every day for 6 days a week for 75 or 6 years, save for his time in the military. And I don't know what he would do with himself if he didn't have here to come to distract him from any other worries on his mind. Not that he doesn't worry about this place. He does enough of that, but it would be his, it was a livelihood, and then it became life, and now it's something to keep him busy, and I don't want to see him stop.
As you very well know, he's visually impaired. And my wife drives him to church most every Saturday night with her parents. And so she's had more conversations with Lenny than I have. But the fact of the matter is, Lenny just told her the other day that he's trying to cut down on his hours of work, and he's probably not going to go in as many Saturdays as he usually does. So that tells you a lot about his love for the business, his work ethic, and the fact that it's a part of him.
You can see the quality that he still produces in the chair that he does. And at 89 years old, he enjoys sharing that craft to show other people. He enjoys doing it for the community.
Teachers will bring sometimes a few students in to watch if my dad's putting on a show that day, and there you see some are interested, and actually quite a few are interested in the process, and they just never realized that this was made somewhere.
When they opened that Heritage Park back in '89, I was doing this in demonstration form in there.
Who's great. He enjoys talking with people. He enjoys sharing his story. He enjoys showing his craft. That is important. To be able to have other people see what people's lives, what they do for a living. That's what makes what we do, certainly makes us a little bit a part of who we are.
Well, I certainly don't want the history of Gardner to be forgotten as far as the furniture industry.
He's 89 years old. He's still coming here 5 days a week. Keeps the door open, keeps answering the phone, always with a smile on his voice, no matter what problem might be waiting on the other side of the phone.
I'm still trying to figure an answer for why do I keep going. Because my love used to be of the people who would walk in and we would chat, and I would let you kid with me and I'll kid with you. That kept me going right up till now. Now if you want to come in and start me up again, go ahead. Come on in, I'm ready for you.